going on, good people? What's going on, bad? Last back ass again with the truth, period. Fuck all the bullshit. Think about it. Today, y'all gonna get to have it. No matter if you wanna know it or not, today is that day y'all gonna get it. For y'all to know what the truth is for yourself. So she about to go into something, he about to go into something. I'm about to send her to her house. But she gonna take a helicopter. Cause they're gonna bring him in now. Cause we're filming now. About what the truth is, being just the truth. And I'm gonna show you why. Shit. Cause that's gonna be the topic of all days. Why not ask fucking questions if you wanna know what the truth is? I'm just saying. Puppy dog. Always puppy dog. Keep on moving. It's puppy dog. I'm finna broadcast too. Alright, let's go. Always puppy dog. No, we don't. We're gonna kill everybody first. Then we'll go get the thing. I know. Now you're not more restricted. You're retracted. Nice knowing you. Is there anybody else waiting for this party to get started? Yeah, we know he gonna die. He's gonna be in the army. Now your business gonna get why? Why, bro? That don't make no sense. That's stupid. I don't like playing with y'all fucking kids. Y'all shouldn't be on here first of all. Cause y'all stupid by default. Y'all just starting off. So if you just starting off, can't help but be stupid. Unless you try doing something smart. So that's what I want to see. Hold on. Somebody close this door. Where you going? All right, then. Jump my car.
My birth certificate, I looked it up, but I was thinking to, do whatever, but I was going between Bali to Europe. It's complicated. I live out of a suitcase, and I'm like, I needed to keep up, and there was too much going on. So I didn't get involved with it. But the fact of the matter is, at least that even though they're doing it inappropriately, it's bringing attention to the masses. They think that they can have access.
Was what the Christian sons of bitches changed the creator's day in the worship into
because they wanted their $5 million. It wasn't that they wanted to realize who they are and they didn't need to worry about any of this. And that's the kind of the more attitude I took. I was like, fuck all this paperwork. Fuck all this bullshit created in thin air. It doesn't exist. I'm going to go live my life the way I want, and I'll find my way through, and I have. But I don't give a shit. They send all the paperwork. I was teaching people about paying income taxes many years before I had my son stolen, and they never came after me. They don't want me in a court of law. They don't want me to share more information, and that's actually, is it not true that when you do completely reclaim the private, you have to stay in the private and can't publicly? That's it's trespassing.
It is. It's trespass. You're right. It is trespass. You're right. In their system, it is called trespass in their system.
Trespass is treason. Yes. Can I back up just a little bit, because we kind of dove right in. I'd like to just quickly, and then I want Santos to ask the next question.
I want Santos to talk. I love listening to Santos.
Okay, so let's have Santos.
There's probably some kind of bromance going on here, isn't there? We don't even know about it.
Yeah, I think we're blowing up.
Don't be knocking it now, Brett. Don't be knocking it.
I'll ask you this question, Santos, then. Why don't you give a brief synopsis, because it's what I put in the information for the show, about how the Sesame KV, first King Henry VIII, and how he stole all the wealth of the poor people, and then the Act of 1666, and how that transcribes to where we are now, just briefly, so people understand how that particular declaration by Henry VIII, and then I believe it was the act that was passed in 1666, and then Queen Elizabeth did something. They kept jacking it up more and more. Oh, you can't have access. We take all your land. You can't have it. And then, oh, well, you know what? You can, but, only within 20 years. If you're not there within 20, if you don't claim it within 20 years, it's gone and you can't have it, and et cetera, et cetera. Could you just explain the Sesame KV a little bit and why it has importance into this discussion that we're having at this second.
Okay, well, to understand the Sesquippedic Act, you need to go back to Pope Boniface VIII, which Steve has already mentioned. He created Unum Sanctum, which is the first express trust papal bull in history. And 3 more were to follow. One was in 1455. The other one was just 10 years before Columbus set sail. And then there was one in 1539 called Convocation by the really, really revolutionary Pope, who was a Farinese, the most powerful family in history, from ancient Persia, Farinese. And he was Pope Paul III. He wrote up Convocation. He sponsored Ignatius de Loyola. And he also started the Reformation. Martin Luther was funded by the Jesuits, which were created also by this Pope. And he convened the Counter-Reformation in 1545, so they were behind both sides of that. Okay, so they were behind Martin Luther and Calvin. And also they were mixed in with King Henry VIII there. And Pope Paul III Farnese was the one who finished all of the acts and put them under Unum Sanctum. Okay? Now, just before I tidy that one up, you need to go back also to Justinian in the 5th century. Okay? If our timelines are correct, this is when the elite families began to realise how to control people through money in these false trusts, or de facto trusts, I would say, because they're not de jure, they don't belong to the national treasury system, you know. But what I've uncovered, if you go to Wikipedia and look at the list of popes, okay, from St. Peter to Francis, and what you'll find is that for the first 800 or 900 years, all these popes that became heads of the church in the Vatican, they don't have any surnames.
They have
okay,
everything.
so you see Pope Paul becomes Pope Paul, and Pope Victor becomes, or a man who's called Victor becomes Pope Victor. And then all of a sudden you see names turning up. Around about the 900s. Now, because surnames, I mean, surnames, surety names, they are corporations, and you'll notice a lot of these very, very powerful families still in existence today, running everything behind the scenes, this slave system. And Pope Boniface VIII, he was a Gaetani. Now, Gaetani is one of these ancient Roman bloodlines that married into the other 12 families, and I know them by heart. Okay? So I'll name the families that Gaetanis are involved with. These are the conquistador families who funded the conquest of the Americas. Okay, the Gaetanis in 1302. They were very, very powerful. And I think the English had a pope before that, about 200 years, Breakspear. So you'll see that surname, and it's still very powerful in England. And then the Gaetanis married into all these other families which I will mention. The Medici, Farnese, Orsini, Pamphili, Aldobrandini, Somalia, Conti, Chigi, Borghese, and Borgia, and the Colonna family. Okay, Colonna is Christopher Columbus's original true name, Cristobal Colon. That's the Colonna family. Now, Steve mentioned that the Windsors and the Rothschilds are very, very powerful family from Rome. Yes, they are. And they come from the Guelph. The Guelph were the Orsinis. Okay, these days they're still Orsini. The great pope is Pepe Orsini, the most powerful man in the world. Pepe Orsini. He rules, he's the great pope. He pulls the strings of the white pope and the three current superior generals of the Jesuits, the black popes. Now, these Colonna family becomes Columbus, Christopher Columbus, and they morphed into the Ghibellines. Now, the Ghibellines were warring with the Guelphs, we know this. But they were originally the Colonna and the Orsini families. Orsini means red bear, little red bear, and they have a red shield for their coat of arms, and it's an upside-down red rose cross. And that morphs into Rothschild, red shield. So they are Orsini. Orsini morphed into the Guelphs and morphed into the Windsors. So you see, this family and the Farnese family absolutely pull all the strings of these false trusts. They created these 13 families, what's called the fondi, or the funds. So they control the funds that control the world. And these funds, they direct the world from the Vatican and from Venice, because Venice is where insurance and the birth certificate and all of that is run from, because they trade in securities and derivatives and futures and insurance and things like that from the maritime island. Therefore, they control that maritime aspect of the law. And so, just to finish off and tidy what I'm saying up, is that these families created the whole surname concept to put people into persons or ships, because they become parsons. The BC is a parson. It makes us someone holds the Vatican's or the Church's property. So by virtue of the birth certificate, we are all Catholic, regardless of whether someone calls himself a Mormon or any other Protestant or Lutheran. They are Catholic by virtue of the BC.
Even though it's null and void because of the fraud. In legalese.
Yeah, well, because it piggybacks off our record, our live born record. A record is different. It's de jure. It belongs to the treasury system of nations. The Vatican can only create countries. Countries are on paper. They're corporations. They're persons. They're dead. So we've got citizens of countries rather than nationals of a nation, natives.
Well, what you're discussing actually is the difference between a live certificate of birth and a birth certificate. They're very different. A live certificate of birth, we call it in the U.S., but it's a birth record, and that's what I use to authenticate for my son. That's the one you need. The copy is no good. You need the live one, and then get that sealed. And what that does, if the state, you can do it both at your state level, which in our country, you go to the Attorney General there, and you have a specific seal, and that frees you there. And then you go to the federal, which was John Kerry before the election, before I left. I don't know who it is now, and I don't care. But you go and you get a certain seal, and it's about a stamp saying, you just tell them you need it for travel, for business purposes, literally, and they give you a stamp. And what it does is it shows that you're not lost at sea, that you're of the age of majority, and you no longer need to be cared for by the government, aka the Vatican, whatever, correct? Scenarios without getting arrested or being thrown into a psych unit for speaking in a court talking about all this stuff, because the judge will send you for a psych evaluation and think you're crazy in front of everyone. I do that enough too. No more.
Yeah, so how they roped us in is they created plantations. You see, the first 13 companies which morphed into colonies, which morphed into states, those 13 they go back to these families, and you'll see that, they have District of Columbia. Well, that's the Columbia family, the Colonna family, the Ghibellines. Okay, they're still there. They're from Genoa, whereas the Guelphs were from Venice. The Genoese went westward, and they funded through Columbus. They funded that. It was a conquest from the start. They brought diseases over there to decimate the population. The Borgia Pope Alexander VI in 1493, when Columbus returned, signed the Treaty of Tordesillas, and then he carved up the Americas, the Borgia family. Everything west of 1,500 kilometres would be Spain's, and everything east would be Portugal's. And so then England and the Guelph power faction there, they wanted in on that, so they conquered North America. And the French also, because they didn't like the Borgias, the Spanish family. A very powerful family, from the ancient Carthaginians. But these bloodlines, they're still there. And I just needed to finish with how they made these plantations, and they roped us in, telling us that we were going to be free from the imposition of the Dominicans. What they didn't tell us was that the Jesuits took over. Okay, the Farneses and the Borgia, they founded the Jesuits with Ignatius de Loyola, and they would forever control left and right, the Protestants and the Catholics. And the New World Order has been around since then. It's not coming. It's the the commercial dead person system, which has piggybacked on God's law, which is democratic republic constitutions. Australia has one. It's called Federation 1901. We have a beautiful constitution, and that is God's law. God's law that we turn our backs on is our national law, because our nation is our God. So this system does not reflect on any peoples. It's, run commercially out of London. It's run militarily out of Washington, D.C. It's run religiously and ecclesiastically out of Rome. But those people, the Italian, the English, and the Americans, they are national good people. It's the corporate empire that has control in these countries, or these nations, I should say, that probably gives them a lot of hatred. But these families, they don't have any loyalty at all to the nations where they operate out. The Persian bloodlines, the Farneses and the De Medicis, the names tell you all. Medici is media, the Persian and the Median Empire, and they control the media and the medical big pharma industry. That's Medicis. And then you've got the Pallavicinis. They created Islam, and they control Islam to this day. If you put in 2 words in YouTube, Pallavicini, and that's one of the 13 families, and then next to it you put Islam, and you'll see all the prominent members of this very powerful family controlling everything to do with Islam and terrorism.
He was telling his friend's daughter sorry, I can't talk. I'm live on YouTube right now, but Sando's been also explaining pictures of how the world gets not to lack of what you were saying at all, but to summarize or put in plain, straight, English that a lot of anyone with, I don't even care about the word English, but language, this is the real mob that we're talking about, and this is the real conspiracy that exists. And that's why they put so much focus on the Italian mob movies, The Godfather, and all this, because there are groups and families like that. I know, I've met a bunch of them. They're different. They're the lower echelon of these, but they want to put the focus on that. Just the way, instead of talking about the satanic pedophiles of power and their satanic ritual abuse and their black magic and all the rites and their sacrifices and all this, they want to try to put the attention. Oh yeah, the human trafficking, the missing children. This one pedophile. No, it's not this one guy or a porn ring. the whole thing. They let it out there, but they only let the lower echelon people take the hit. Just like, Abu Ghraib. Those orders to beat and abuse and murder those people and torture them came from high in the military. But of course, only the guy taking the orders that had to do it was the one getting in trouble. The same thing on a global level, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's how it works. And so you see these families, the Rothschilds, and Rockefellers, they come from these bloodlines. Their names tell all. In Egyptian, Ra Kafar means the banker of the pharaoh. See, the Ra Kafellers, Ra, Rothschild, Ro is going back to Ra, to Egypt. The names tell you what they do and where they originate from. And these families are only interested in empire. Originally, they had their hearts set on the Americas and Australia, and they were going to make a prison planet. And so that's why they sold the conquest of the Americas as if those people would be going to freedom, to escape the Inquisition. But they brought the Inquisition there because they brought Admiralty law. They brought the Venetian system, the dog Latin from Justinian. They brought this. What they did was they allowed nations to be set up because you can't break the spirit of the truth and people. So nations were set up correctly, but the Vatican would always come back through the back door and reclaim the original plantations and companies and colonies and trace them back to these 13 families. And that's how we got roped in, because we thought we were going for freedom, but we were going for a commercial contract instead.
Yep, and of course this is probably even pretty much common knowledge, I would think, and even the lower level truther circuit is that, even our Revolutionary War was funded by King George, funded both sides. It didn't matter who won, as long as the Indians were killed. And that there was some kind of winner who was perceived as the correct one, and then it's all devicery. It's about creating division, separate and destroy, because that's how you weaken. And I remember seeing on your website, you put you spoke initially of surnames, Santos, when you went into that lovely, eloquent explanation as to how we got here from those 13 families. But ironically, 13 is numerically, at least from my study, is completion. That's the final number. And that's why it's kept from us. That's why we don't have 13th floor. 13's unlucky. Well, granted, that had to do with the Pope and the King of France going and slaughtering the Masons at the time, the Templars, excuse me. But there's so much out there. It's all right there. But it's so easy to get distracted along the way that you never get to the place where Steve has gotten. So I would just like to back up a little bit, because it's one of the first things I saw that was a piece that I kind of lost along the way until right before, and I perfectly went into a lot of it, Santos, as well, is this surname. And on the very front of your website, expert in all legal matters, Steve, you kind of break it. I love it. You broke down this ginormous thing, which I'm sure everything you click on will take beyond 10 years of study, but you've summarized and lined it up so easily. And so after the birth certificate, you bring it down to how it's your name and the surname. Why don't I just pass it to you that way? And how the surname, like you were just saying with the popes, Santos, is not you. It's an epithet. And why don't you explain that a little bit? Because that's something that I missed completely in all my research.
Yeah, Santos is actually spot on with that, and absolutely correct with that one, Santos. The surname is not yours, it's a family hereditary name. It's given to you. The iron is an epithet, it's an add-on, we call it an add-on. If you go into the dictionary, it's amazing this, if you go online you can't find it, you have to buy the original Oxford dictionaries and the manuals to see these things and what they mean. And is an epithet, it's an add-on. They've added the surname to the live man or woman. Because you were born, your first name is always going to be your original name for your father or your mother.
Yeah.
Stephen, Lisa, Ray, Santos. That's the lie, the real, the man or the woman. Yeah, and epithet, which is the surname, that's how they've done it. They've added it to you. That's how they've attached it. Look at everybody's birth certificate, your own birth certificates, and you'll see the word and there. You'll know it's there. It's either
Well,
on
I
your
do
side.
that. I have it with me. I travel with it. I don't keep it anywhere because there's always something. So that basically is the name of your slave master clan that was filtered down. So I can.
Absolutely, Santos is spot on with that. That's how they've done it. They had to attach it. They had to attach the legal to the real. And that's how they did it. Two ways, tricked your mother and father into doing a birth certificate, registered one, legal, and they didn't give full disclosure on it. See, that's a good bit, the tricky bit. You can get a lot of money for that if you actually do it right. They've got to give
Well, I knew that I didn't want to attach myself to the last name. I mean, I am a woman who stands. I stand on the land, and I'm commonly known as Lisa. I know this piece. I didn't get into that. Actually, the surname was how it tied to the clan, and how you can actually trace back to what wealth you have. And it's not just wealth, because no, this is what we talked about this with the TVA thing. It's not about getting $5 million. I already live my life
Hello?
the way I would if I had $5 million. Maybe I would actually not maybe, I would mandate that I prioritize myself and my pleasure more than trying to do my work. But this is what gives me passion. Speaking the truth and finding solutions. I can't go out and sit there and enjoy
I wouldn't be trying to get no homeless shelter because
or
after
going out and
Harvey,
doing whatever.
they still got the homeless people
because
missing.
I know how many people that are starving and suffering because this truth is
Yeah.
So it's more need. Yeah.
All right, man.
So
the birth certificate is a trick of all tricks. It's what we call the trick of all tricks. To add the I and then the surname onto it, because they are separated for a reason. It's bringing an add-on, an epithet. Right. Everything's held at the Vatican, and that's a live-born record, right? And this is what's getting traded on. We all know this, right?
in the U.S., they don't even give you your live bomb. They give you a true. It says a true copy, but it's.
As soon as that doctor signs it, it's gone. It just disappears. That's it. It's vanished.
Yeah.
But there's two things they do with that, and it's quite clever. Do you know why you put a blood stamp on an EDP, an ecclesiastical default?
Because of the DNA.
What happens to you the minute you're born?
Well, I was just going to say I've interviewed Kirk that into this. It has to do with
you get Achilles heel like
the placenta allegedly. Because that's what brought you into the world. That's your feminine mother. That's what makes it her property. And when they take blood, that's saying that you're now dead and the placenta is buried.
That gives it the securitization. That stamps it. That brings it very real.
They used to take our footprint when we were babies.
That's what they do. It's a heel. They pick the heel. It's a blood stamp. Exactly correct. That's it. Always done it.
Yeah.
And that gives
I'm gonna go get you guys talk for what? I'll be back in 2 seconds. I want to know because I know I'm going to see something on a whole new level.
Brett's not spoken for a while. I'm getting worried about the man.
He's
Go for it, Brett. I heard you for it.
Well, I like to listen, but I was just given dinner.
Well, it's getting on about there at 9 now. It's what, about 9, 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, no, it's only 8 o'clock here.
8 o'clock, yeah. See, Santos is absolutely spot on everything. He's been doing this a long time. I am totally behind what Santos, his information is spot on. For what he's done, and not many people have done it, I've done it because I know that's the fact, he's done it, he's actually went and seen the truth for himself. He went through the system. He had to see it for himself. Because once you see it, there's no going back. You can't go back once you've seen it. There's no way going back. I've done it myself. Santos has done it himself. There's a few others out there. Romney's done it. Rowan's done it. You know what I mean? Franco Collins has done it. These are all individuals that you've got to give credit to where credit's due. They've all pursued their own line. But just all right, all real. Everything's been real all the way straight through, and they're all tying up now. You're all bringing it together. These are all bringing it all together. in one big hit. Yeah, right. Scary stuff.
It's beautiful, really.
Absolutely. I think Go on, Santos.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. I'm enjoying what Bromley and Rowan are bringing to the table too, because they also help me to understand the difference between your given name, your Christian name, which are lawful, as compared to your first name, which is, it's the legal system. So the surname is a title, because it's a sir, you see. A sir is a title. So when a policeman asks you for your full name, well, in my case, it's Santa. I don't need to give Bonacci, because that's not my full name. My full name, my parents only gave me the one name. I was named after my paternal grandfather, Santo, and so the surname being a title, you're not required to give any titles, just a name. So I think it was Rowan that brought that point out, and I really had an aha moment at that time, and I realised how powerful and true that is. If you're using first, middle name and last name, or surname, you'll be getting into trouble.
So can you use just the one name?
Yep. Well, according to Rowan, I haven't tested this, but he said yes, because by law, you are...
I've tested.
Yep.
I've done this in court. I've tested it. I know for a fact.
You can just say Steve. That's
I
it.
walked
No,
in the court on my driving convictions, for a speeding offence, and the first thing they asked me is, can I have your name? And they went, are you Mr. Stephen McRae, Vincent? I went, no, my name is Stephen McRae. That is it. Stephen McRae. I'm not a Mr. and I'm not a surname, which is Vincent. My name's Stephen McRae. That's what's on my birth certificate. I told her, I'll show it to the judge. She vacated it there and then on the spot. She vacated it instantly. That went on for 2 years. 2 years of argument and all. That then brought the whole system then, because I then brought in the Glossers, the Romley and Rowan, because they had done all that side. So I brought all that in as evidence, and Santos, I brought some of your stuff in as well. I brought a load of stuff in, and we spent the next few years going through all the legals, through their system, and they couldn't cope because they never got joined up, because I never once said Mr. I never once said surname. And wait for it, this is a beautiful thing, guys. If you ever go in a courtroom, if you ever go into court, make sure you go into court with your birth certificate. Your birth certificate.
Okay.
That's the reason. The reason being, anyone in the room, the reason being, the minute you walk into a place of business which is admirable to the law, they're trying for jurisdiction people. They are all cooperated under one banner of this corporation, as we all know. It's owned by the Vatican, by 7 different families, right? All caps to it. But you've got a privilege. There is a privilege to this, and this is what you don't understand. The name's got to be given freely. They cannot force your name out of you, so you've got to agree to the contract. Yes? So you've got to agree.
No, but agreeing to be your name
you cannot tell you your name before they ask you your name. You've got to agree to the contract. Yeah?
Yeah. Well, that's why I didn't want to...
The judge is going to ask you for your name. And you can only ask for the name. The name is specific, and there's a reason why they say, can I have your name? And this is why they ask you. Your name is Lisa. Your name is not Miss Lisa do or Mr. do. Yeah? It's Lisa.
Yeah.
You cannot get jurisdiction. You cannot ever get done for contempt in court when they hold that in there. You have the power of the legals under you now. So what they do is they shut off.
This is your protection. This is your armor to lock in.
I'm not joking. If you get arrested by the police, you go in front of a judge, if you do not agree to the Mr. or the Mrs., and you do not agree to the surname, and you have your birth certificate, they can never ever do joinder with you. And then they put a warrant out for that capitalisation / glosser. I'm not joking.
I know he's right, because I mean, I would, instead of the police, for whatever reason.
So do you know any legal eagles over here in Australia that know all this, that are up on this kind of stuff that we can talk about?
I would never ever get a lawyer. I'm not a legal expert. I'm an expert on legal matters. I know the legal side of it. And there's a reason why I'm not a legal expert, because I've not been trained in their legal, signed up to their bar girls, and I don't want anything to do with it. I can quite comfortably argue a legal argument in the courtroom, and I'll win it.
Merriweather, because security is a private matter. What can I do for you?
Caption, all caps.
Thank you. A helicopter has been dispatched to your area.
I'm quite happy to play that. Even if you want to play it, you better be very educated if you want to play that role with me, because I'm going to rip you to shreds, because I know the rules for it.
We are here to help. Latest whoever's giving you trouble.
You get into trouble with the law and you get arrested because of the system. This is a good thing.
Yeah, that's why Heather wanted to be there. Because she's
committed. It's why we have a lot of people, again, quite clever for this. When they arrest you, try to take you off you, so you can't walk in front of the judge with the on you. They're doing this a lot of bit now, because a lot of people are doing it.
They don't have anything. They put you in oranges and stains and wheel you in.
They're doing that in this country as well now, because and then all you need to say is, well, I do it till we get higher ruling. That's all you do, because you need the bus to come forward, because that's who they're after, not you. Simple.
So if I had my birth certificate when they dragged me out of my hotel room that I paid for because some stranger knocked on the door and dragged me out in bed and I refused to give them my legal fraud, and they beat me for 14 hours, and finally the only way they booked me was they asked if I'd let them take my picture, so I formed contract by finally letting them do that, because I'd been kept in a cage with no having to urinate in front of everyone and being beaten every 2 hours.
I was in court for two years. Well, 2014 started and up to 2016, and then put the website up on last year, and then we've updated it right up to now. And that's to show what happened to me, because I had to see it for myself, and I was told to do that for a reason, because if you don't see it for yourself, you're not going to understand this.
Yeah,
and
I get it.
You've got to see it for yourself. Santos has done this his own way. Wrongly, Rowan have done it, Michael Collins have done it, there's many other people throughout the world, yourself can say you've probably done it, Brett's probably done it. But the birth certificate gives you certain privileges, and that is the most powerful tool in the courtroom. Think about it logically now, on a legal argument to it. Think about the God forbid what I do, that under the legal, I name a few people that got off with this over the legals, and it's gone very quiet, because this is what they're doing. A few of them have done it, yes, and they're not meant to, they're abusing it now, but they're doing it with position of wealth, and they're paid a lot of money to use that privilege. But a normal man or woman like us, if you don't give gender to something, they can never punish yourself.
If you what? Say that slower, Steve.
If you don't give joinder or contract to a judge,
you can never joinder or contract.
Yeah, they can't get joinder. So if you go in and they ask you your name, because it's a name they've got to ask for. They're not allowed to ask for your surname. They've got to ask for your name. Any police officer, absolutely correct. Any police officer, everybody whoever's been arrested with the police, the first thing they ask you for is your name. That's all you need to do, is your first name, or if it's two, a first and a middle name, you give it to them. You never ever give the mix, or the mixed up, or the surname to them.
I always, whenever they said I'm a woman.
Jurisdiction. Yeah, but they'll never get jurisdiction. But in a courtroom, it works in your benefit, because they have got to vacate it or adjourn it on the spot. There and then on the spot, can't argue with you. They've got to do that, because that's the law, that's the rule system.
Here's an important question to ask you while we're right here. Let's say you carry your birth certificate around with you, and you get arrested, and they take all your belongings and left in the court. What do you say? You say, I'm sorry that you're holding the proof illegally at the police state. What is it you say to the judge to get him to bring you your birth certificate into the courtroom?
You don't want the pen and the paper and the clean. Just like Michael Collins said, if you get arrested, you're entitled to do an affidavit an affidavit of truth. Anybody can do one. It's quite powerful. Only a man or a woman can do an affidavit, guys. Yeah?
Yeah.
Corporations cannot do an affidavit for dead entities. They're going to remain. Santos, you know all about this in affidavits of truth. You will then swear an affidavit of truth to there and in spot that you have had your legal birth certificate taken off from you. You would like it returned before you proceed any further.
Perfect.
Why?
Thank you. I always miss those little details.
You are allowed, the first thing you see the judges, when the judge arrested you, they say, I've not had time to prepare, Your Honour, I need a pencil, clean clothes, a pencil and a piece of paper so I can do an affidavit, then we can start from that moment forward and I've just showed you my affidavit of truth. The reason being, there's something been taken from me and you can hear in this courtroom now with me before I can proceed further. Because I'm not prepared. And that's it. Stand back and say nothing. They've got to honour that because you, as a man or a woman, need to get some remedy here.
No, I get you. I'm to the point where I did my son's trial. I went in and I did, when they came down to me, he said, are you the mother, Lisa Jean Vunk? And I said, no. I said, I'm a woman commonly known as Lisa. And I said, the first thing I did was eradicate the ad litem, the lawyer that was appointed to me against my will without my consent, which she sat down and no more. And then I basically presented, established there was no jurisdiction, that there was no living man or woman who had seen me. I had my definitions and I didn't give him jurisdiction. He asked me what I wanted and I said I wanted my property returned. And I held up a picture of my son. I used the term property. I didn't use his legal name or any of that. And because that was private and public and it's a fraudulent tribunal anyway, I ended it. I actually asked, I listed every agent or agency or person that was involved in his legal kidnapping, and which was a lot of people and agents and their agencies. And I actually didn't list the judge, hoping to have him move it to the Department of Justice, to the higher court, to get it up, which of course he ignored. And I ended my thing, and then he said, Miss Funk, we're going to be. I had already ended my showing, and was walking out, and he made a statement that they were going to continue with trial anyway. And I went, but I didn't. I said, I am not Miss Funk. I am a woman commonly, and I said that any further action by this court will be deemed trespass and treason, and your name is included, and those will be held accountable. And I left, and he reappointed the lawyer and held a trial for 5 days after I was out of the room, without any consent or anything.
It's called a tort of misdeeds. It's not trespass. When you're in a public official domain, i.e. courtrooms or anything like that, it's called a tort of misdeeds. That's its official name.
Okay. Thank you.
That covers tort of misdeeds. It's a tort of trespass. It's trespass. It's the most hideous crime under ecclesiastical law. A tort of misdeeds. That means that a public official abusing his power. That's what it means. Or breaking his oath.
Chat box, what it looks like. I want to get that term accurate. Type it in.
Tort of misdeeds. It's on my way. If you go on the YouTubes, you'll actually see it. I've got Helen there who shows you tort of misdeeds. It's the most worst crime for any public official to break their oath, and that's what they've just done the minute they don't honour theirs. Tort of misdeeds.
Unfortunately, do it every single day. The vast majority of them, anyway.
Ask Santos about his dealings in court, because he's actually been in court. I would like to hear how you got on it.
No, that's actually how I had been following. I've been listening to Santos's radio show because it was after my friend Christie's. Way back when he was on American Freedom Radio. I remember listening to you with Max Egan and then calling on, actually, Santos. And I asked you one question. You guys kind of answered the bigger question because you didn't realize I was going higher. It was funny as hell. But no, Santos, and that's how and I was listening to Kate, and you exploded, and I saw the live videos. Why don't you share what happened to you in court there when you got arrested, when you were when they put you in? And I loved how you were teaching everybody Shivambu and everything in the court, and that you actually enjoyed being there because you took the time to educate everyone in the jail.
Yeah, well, if I didn't stick to my original plan, I would have been okay. But I guess I was too loquacious and too eager to you know, try to smash the fiction, but in doing so,
passionate is you were very passionate.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't. I succeeded in a personal way in that I learnt how I failed, if that makes any sense to you. But if you look at it, sorry.
I agree. That's how I feel about my son. I failed getting him back, but I learned a lot from that experience.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, if you look at the most famous of all trials, Jesus before Pontius Pilate, he said all the right things, but he still got killed. So, and he answered questions with questions, etc., etc. The point is that the demonic system is designed in such a way that they will make these very, very superficial and you know, incredibly evil tricks that they will recontract with you. You know, they've got all these little tricks. They'll walk out of the court and then come back in if you don't know, you know, the exact things to say. Then you enter into another contract, etc. Certain words and things, they've got their entrapment, and they're masters at it. So I can see now where I failed. I should have stuck to, you know, just not allowing them to impose a surname and, you know, corporate name on me. But I guess I just spoke too much. But I wish, you know, I knew as much as I do now, especially with regard to the name, to know that my only name is my given name, which is Santa, you know. So this is the beautiful thing. Imagine how many people would just never ever, you know, suffer the damages that they inflict on unsuspecting people if they just knew this one magic, powerful thing. Because we do have a remedy, and it's, the scripture says, if you trust in the name of the Lord, you will be saved. Now, what that means is to trust in the, you know, the name of the Lord is not the corporate name. It's the Christian name, because that's where we come from. We come from that tradition. So that's the name of the Lord. It's the name of Christ, which is a Christian name. A surname is more related to sort of a devil's name, you know. And so we should be trusting in the name of the Lord, and He will deliver us. The system is designed to deliver us. Steve mentioned something very interesting at the beginning about how they were supposed to take care of us with this system. There was supposed to be care and trust. But it's like the scripture says, when Jesus says that He will leave His faithful and discreet slave to administer the meat at the proper time, and he will go abroad, and then when he comes back, he finds that the masters mistreated the slaves, and they didn't give them their food at the proper time. They didn't make them aware of what they were doing to them properly, you know, full disclosure. They started abusing the slaves. So when the master returns, he will punish the servants because they abused the position, their fiduciary trust. And so that's what it's talking about. It's talking about this system, this legal system. Hence why Jesus condemns the lawyers. You know, it's funny, he doesn't condemn law. He's condemning the lawyers. And the same with many other things in the Bible, you know. I get attacked because I'm an astrologer, and people say, oh, but the Bible condemns astrology. And I say, well, where? I've read the Bible many times, backwards, forwards, upside down. I've read it so many times, and many versions. And nowhere does it condemn astrology, because it is an astrological treatise. It condemns the false prophets that call themselves astrologers. That's what a false prophet is. Anyone who teaches, you know, pseudoscience and legalese.
Yeah.
You know, these are entrapments. They're contracts by devils, you know, or demonic entities, really. And that's these families are channeling. They've created egregores. An egregore is a demon. It's a thought form or an emotion form. And when the families get together and create bonding funds, then they create secret societies and then churches and inquisitional institutions like the Jesuits and the Knights of Malta and the Knights of Columbus. They all swear secrecy to this egregore, to this demon that will control their god system. And so every time they perform their rituals and they have meetings and we participate in it, we're breathing life into their demon system. And it's contrary to God's system. It's an antichrist. The true system is the book of life, and that is the book of record. The book of registry, Regis, the king, that's not God the king, that's the temporal king, and that is blasphemy, that we should neglect and ignore the book of life, and now we are participating in their activities, hence we are judged in such a way. And the Vatican knows this, hence they call us lost at sea, dead, imbecile.
Can I share something that I see? I'm not the woo-woo kind of person, you know, like the New Age, yoga, I'm into all that and stuff. But what, from my perspective, especially because of what happened, one of my incidences, and you were there during my Kundalini center, one of the rounds anyway. But I was part of it was I was shown, taken somewhere, and it was like this bonfire, and it was like Christ and Buddha and all these various different, gods. And I was screaming at them because they had taken the truth and were hiding it from the people, and that they were drunk on the worship instead of teaching the children that they were all just as powerful as they were. And from my perspective, in duality here in 3D, that God and Satan are simply two sides of the same coin, and it's a parasitic entity that is feeding off us. At the same time, and the religion, and just the way the monarchies has first with the family, first with monarchy, and then with religion, and then with trust, but government, and now through science and media, that's how they've been, it's been this steady flow of, it's kind of like the AIDS virus. It jumps organs. It attacks one, and then, your immune system might go up, and it'll go to another one, so it can attack, and it just keeps jumping, so you run out of energy. Your body runs out of life force before it actually gets to map and track the gene and get and build up an immunity to it. It's very similar. But at the same time, on the other half of that, I'm a firm believer. Like my first video, I made a message to the powers that were, and I thank them for the appropriate lesson and the inappropriate use of power. Because of my experience with Kundalini and being one with all the multiverses, and that we're out of my body but conscious of this and many other dimensions all at the same time, it just made sense that this is just one of the movies, and we chose to participate here, but that we really are way stronger than the entities that actually have parasited us. And this is just the system and the way it shows up in 3D reality, and where we are going, which is being immortal, conscious, co-creator gods and goddesses, is that we literally needed this appropriate lesson before we got that power, because it requires great awareness and sobriety, not in like the sober term, but as in, being direct and present, because it can destroy as easily as it creates. And just like Harry Potter, you better know where you're aiming that wand and what you're saying, the words you're saying, because you will be creating instantly. So I believe this was just a warm-up for the humanity down here. Does that sound too crazy?
No.
No.
The truth will sound crazy to people that believe in a lie.
Because it's worth contributing. We are becoming the priest and the king, you see. In the book of Revelation it says that we shall rule for 1,000 years as priests and kings. The king is the sovereign.
All that fucking
and
rule
the priest
shit.
is the...
Shut up, that's the thing about it. It ain't about no motherfucking ruling. It's about
spiritual side,
the life of getting along and loving and caring and respecting each other. No one should be ruling over no one else.
Being to God, what people call God. And so in order to grow fully, we have to grow both the emotional and the intellectual parts of our being. And one is the king and one is the priest. And until we grow in both of these areas, we can't neglect one.
None of that
We
bullshit.
can't neglect the other. Both
You're going by what was written in the motherfucking book.
Rule our lives. And
Question, very important. Why is it the king and the priest instead of the king and the priestess? Because it's obvious that what you're talking about is the inner divine feminine. No, seriously.
Yeah,
that's
seriously.
the only masculine version.
Yep.
The feminine is completely
Yep. Go ahead on, girl. Go ahead on, girl.
Correct?
Go ahead on, girl. Yep. Go ahead on, girl.
The king and queen.
King and queen.
The queen is really our divine feminine, is our higher self, our heart, our
Thank
compassion,
you,
our immortal nature. And our left brain is our ego, and our right brain is our rational thinking.
There you go.
So why is it taught that it's the king and the priest instead of the king and the priestess?
Nah, you go, girl. That's what I'm talking about.
Feminist wasn't coming in.
No, well,
No, I'm not a feminist. I like men with penis.
He told the truth. It wasn't though. He was just telling the truth. 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 He was just telling the truth.
Sorry.
It wasn't.
No.
Okay.
No, that's all right. Well, see, this is the thing. The Godhead is a divine couple. This has always been known. And so it is the source light of the universe, which is black light and white light. This is why sometimes you see a white Madonna and a black Madonna, a white Jesus and a black Jesus. It has nothing to do with race, because there is only mankind.
Sex. No,
Racism and races, this is all
she said sex.
countries. It's
She meant sex.
all, a construct of
Okay,
the
she meant
human
sex.
empire control system. It's contrived that way so that we can be divided.
Yep.
It is mankind and womankind.
It is people.
So what we have is the original Godhead. These days we only use half of the God equation. It's very sad, really.
Yep.
And God is just this boy. Whereas this is not so. God can never be like that. Energy is it's always has this dual oneness about it. Pythagoras, the greatest, said that it is unity in duality, or duality in unity was the way he expressed it, what we are experiencing. And so, in the minds of more enlightened people, when we say king and priest, in the tarot deck you have the equivalent of priestess and queen. And so, this is like a generic, all covering term to express both, of course. It's obviously the only.
The queen in the tarot card, are you referring to the justice card? Because she has the law in her lap. Is that the... I'm not...
Well, it's the empress. Yeah, well, that's still a queen. So, it's always there. The scriptures always have the divine couple, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Krishna and Radharani, and it's the beautiful source light of creation, which is black and white light. Okay, they don't vibrate. The electromagnetic spectrum of light, which is the rainbow, that vibrates. Okay, red is a long wave, violet is a very, very short frequency, and that is the child of white light. Okay, and so that electrical transverse wave creates the material world. But behind that is black and white light, which is the longitudinal wave. And it is incorruptible. It is the incorruptible magnetic source energy, which is consciousness, unlimited consciousness, which powers and generates this material transverse wave world of vibration.
Which is why we get the basic Mandelbrot. You're talking about the main Mandelbrot that can't ever be altered. It's repeated ad infinitum.
And it's above and below. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, of course, here we go, going off into all these different things. Could we come back, though, because I love, Santos, I could listen to you and talk with him for days and days and days on end. But I'd like to swing this back around, too, because we could literally spiral off in the Divine Feminine. I thank you for I'll let you finish the explanation about the Empress and the Divine Masculine, but I want to get back to actually the part with Steve, and actually about the crest and the seal I'd like to touch on next. So if you could just wrap up my question where I interrupted you about the question about the Queen or the Justice card with the law in her lap in the tarot. Go ahead and finish that thought, and then we'll cruise into that next area. Santos? Are you muted?
Oh, okay. I thought that was for Steve. Sorry.
I interrupted you and asked you about you. Remember I said that the king and the priest? You were explaining about how it had always been. So
yeah, we'll see the process of becoming the king. Steve really has mastered that. So I think I would love to ask Steve. He's mentioned already one thing that we can do to step toward that way. That's the post office, post box. But what else could people like me do? The first thing that we should start thinking about. Now, I've got my live-born record. Should I start thinking about creating a EDP? Which is the way I should go?
Oh, me? Oh, sorry.
For you from Stanford.
Yeah, an EDP, well, that depends if you want to go to the proclaim yourself to be alive to the Vatican. That's a individual choice. That's totally up to you what way you want to go. Most people I do estates for things like that, they think they want to go that way. An EDP is between you and the divine creator, it's not between anybody else. You know what it is. I would recommend everybody do it, to be fair, because nobody can come between you and the divine creator. Simply, not even the Pope. You know what I mean? It's a divine thing. Franco Collins is absolute.
What was that? Nothing can come between you and I thought you were saying you and the Vatican. And the
No, not even the Vatican can come between you and the divine creator. Nobody can come between you and the divine creator. Slow down so you can hear me. The divine creator is, as we all know it, has created this domain.
Yes.
So, under the rule system, their rule system, the Vatican are the only ones that can talk to God. Right?
Bullshit. I call them out.
I know, but that's what they say. Through them, they dish out the ecclesiastical laws.
Yeah.
Which are part of the canons, which are the anarchy and the anarchy law and everything else, okay? So, if you do an EDP, which is an ecclesiastical default, that's between you and the divine creator. Not even the Pope can come between that.
Default what? What's the P for?
Default.
Hey, you, Jimmy, what are you saying?
I see you, hey. There's a language problem.
I said,
I see you, Jimmy. You can't hear it, you can't. Don't let the Scotsman loose about the house.
Fucking hell. I love it. So what we need to do, we need to get somebody that speaks Australian, Scottish, American.
Oh, dear. Oh. Ship it out.
Spanish on here too. Might as well. Some Bahasa.
Yeah, everybody's looking for it. Now, it's not one of them, this is called a ecclesiastical default. You're not getting it, honey. Hello? Hello?
Oh, and I got
I'm I'm only at 40% of my hearing and 60. I'm deaf.
You're a goddess, remember. You need to be above everybody else.
It made her keep that coach.
You're listening to God now.
I'm no one, I don't know anything, mate. I keep yelling this. I work in the shadow. I have enough problems in my own country.
This is a good example of what I'm talking about. So, about before, not legal, but is there someone like you in Australia that you already know of that we can go to and start connecting?
I would recommend Santos and Bromley and Rowan, and they know all about this. Their work is absolutely flawless. They know how this works. You've just got to get it in a structure. It's got to be structured and it's got to be done right. Once you start doing all the bases and covering all the bases, they start running out of room to manoeuvre. You're just covering them. That's all you do here. All I've done is made sure with Helen, because Helen's the only one that leads, it's done it the way it's supposed to be done. She's not been in dishonour. She's been in honour all her life. She's asked to get the estate done. We've done her estate. We've put on notice at the Vatican. She's done everything she's supposed to do. Then she's now went and started doing the legal process to show the legal fraud through the system. She's then done
You're
that.
through to your garage. You need me to bring you around?
Now that it's not open to her under the legals. Now she's private. Simple.
It's on the way. All right, I'll get back to work.
It's easy to do. It's not hard to do. Well, it's complicated. You've got to understand what it's all about. I make it sound easy. Yeah, to me it is easy, and I do apologise. It's because I've been taught that way. My mind's been structured to focus on what's good and what's not real.
Yeah.
Simple. Yeah.
So I guess that's it. I guess, like Santos, you absolutely are up on all of this. And like Lisa was saying before, how she's a newbie. If you're a newbie, Lisa, then I'm still sperm or something.
You still want to get a seat.
I'm trying to get in the egg. So, I guess, okay, because your website is so in-depth and you've got so much information on there and links to go to and YouTube channel, and I guess there must be, somebody that's as dedicated here in each country, and Santos,
Santos is dedicated to what he's gone. Santos has gone the next level. Santos, he understands what this system is. It's who he is. First and foremost, that's who he is. He's a man, and he knows that the only way to get remedy, because this is a conscious thing, it's an enlightenment thing, it's a learning here. That's all we're doing. We're here, we're learning. They don't want you to learn, because if you learn, you get educated quick, and then when everybody does it, they just wipe out the masses because you get too powerful too quickly. Yeah. This is what they do through different generations of humans through time. You just need to look at evidence. The evidence speaks for itself. You can see whoever was Atlantis, smartest, wiped out. You get my drift, damn it. You see, go through history and look at them all. They get wiped out for a reason. They got smart. They understood what it was all about. It's nothing to do with what you have, what you own. It's all to do with getting perfected and getting in touch with the spiritual side, the connecting. Yeah. And that's not just connecting on that level, that's connecting with man and woman as well, helping them grow. Because it's a growing thing, you've got to grow. You can't just jump into it, it's not easy. Everything changes. All your senses heighten, everything changes, your belief system is getting under attack all the time. So it's a massive thing. Not many people will come away from that, from the legal to that. It's a quite new thing if you don't know what you're doing. Santos, he's done it, he's spot on. Rowan, Bromley, Franco Collins on your side, absolutely correct. Lisa's side, I don't know about Lisa's side. Where do you live, Lisa?
I'm sorry?
Where do you live? Yeah, no, where do you live?
Where do I
live?
No, I left the U.S. 3 years ago, left the vineyard, and then shortly after the U.S. and then kind of following my heart, I had the intention of getting over to New Earth Nation in Bali eventually, but didn't know how that was going to happen. But as soon as I left and I had started my radio show, I had $147 in my pocket aside from my plane ticket. I've been following. I ended up eventually in Bali. I had a lot of stuff before that, but I had a radio show 3 days a week. I was interviewing all kinds of people, and I have a passport in zeros, and I have a home base in Bali, but I'm doing a tour around where my heart wants to go. And I want to go travel and be where I interview. Like if I come to UK, I'm going to want to have you on live again, and I'm going to be with you there. Whereas it started with me and Brett when we started live on YouTube. It was back there, but I don't live anywhere. My home is Martha's Vineyard. I can't go back there. My family, like I said, is a bunch of drunken inbred Portuguese, and they're not bad people. They're just not very bright, and there's a lot of guilt and shame and secrets. And I speak truth, so I'm a heretic to them. And I've been threatened. My dad died on my birthday on the 11th. My family wouldn't even let me talk to him or say goodbye. And they're the ones who have my son, and they don't want him to find out, because then it's basically like, oh, if Lisa's right, then, it's this crazy shit. But they've threatened to have me arrested. It's been insinuated that I would be sued and arrested if I stepped foot in Martha's Vineyard. I'd be accused of trying to kidnap my child. And I'm sure they'll make up some other charges to throw me. And I'm done being thrown into this tiny little cell in Edgartown Court, knowing that I shouldn't be there, and sick of having these small minds and small people that think they know me and who have the IQ of a gnat locking me up and beating me and trying to tell me I'm crazy.
Yep.
So I don't have a home. I'm in Prague right now. My home is where my heart is. I'm in Prague right now, and this is my home for a few months. I hope that was enough of an answer to your question. Where are you going?
Well, in America, you've got Santos, and you've got Ronnie and Franco Collins. If all four of them ever decided to get together, between all four of them would become very, very powerful as a unit. Because each one of them has individual uniqueness to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that's the next show we have to schedule.
It's like David Icke on Iowa, right?
That's what I call it.
He's probably one of the most savviest man out there. He's seen it for what it really is, the whole big picture. With super beings and all the different enlightenments and the Illuminati, everything. He's got it, he's hit it in the head. He found out about it a long time ago when he went to the Ayushka plant, he went down in Peru, and he opened up his third eye. I'm Scottish, forgive me.
No, I was just saying, so maybe people that didn't understand it either could hear it. That's all.
This is why the drugs are illegal in certain countries, because this helps you progress where you need to be, but it's got to be done right. It's got to be done in an environment that's right. The body's got to be cleansed. There's all toxins out of the body. Everything's got to be right for you to progress that level to form that high. Because if the body's not ready, the mind's not going to take it.
No, of course not.
And also, because the body will find that you put your body into the body to let go of a different reality. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to actually talk about this a lot. No, I used to be a holistic nutritional consultant and help people eradicate disease and toxins and get healthy. And then I realized the emotional life. No, I've never done plant medicine except mushrooms, except I've had Kundalini, which is when your pineal gland fires DMT, which is what the medicinal plants are for. So I've gone.
Absolutely correct. That's what's your body's detox, that's what it is, absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they put a system in place to keep these guys separated. Because they know every generation has clever enough, or man or woman, that will.
That's why I went in school. That's why I went in school. They don't want everybody knowing the truth.
Until now.
Too many people be innovative to live there and create new shit, real shit, good shit. So nobody don't have to be able to depend on somebody else's shit. And you don't want that because they know that shit. Because when you sit there, they're not as smart as you.
Michael Tessari.
You were just taught to be stupid. The truth is the truth.
Yes, I'm still doing that. It's called the Revolution of Love, and it travels around the world like Lollapalooza. No, this was part of my vision in Kundalini, and I was talking about it, and things started to happen. Yeah, it's all. I've actually seen it. But my question to you is, it can't help. It's like meiosis or mitosis. you know, when a cell cleavage, it replicates and separates, and once it takes off, but at first it's all just one big blob, and then something shifts, and it becomes the endoderm and the mesoderm and the ectoderm, and then boom, all of a sudden and we're at that point now where the only next step is, because I started this show to have people like Santos and people whose work, like Dr. Leonard Horowitz for AIDS and Ebola and the science part, all these people, so that I could ask the questions that I never heard asked listening to their shows, and I could never get picked on. So I decided to do the show and have the people to get better questions and have the Rainbow Warriors Circle, to have people who didn't know any of it, what was going on, or did, and wanted to contribute to the conversation so that we could create sustainable solutions for the Earth. And that's why we started up again, and we're going into the 2.0 next octave, and it's not going to be this calm, nice, play it safe. We're going to go straight to all of it, and we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, and the people, I mean, we just had this eclipse. We'll let Santos elaborate on that, but it was grow or go. You're either going to grow or you're going. And we're growing, and we're not stopping. We're going to take off like a good cancer. Replicate like everywhere.
Now, Santos knows all about the eclipse and everything like that. It's his forte.
Yes, it is.
He should speak for all that. And what's happening and moving with it, I know what it is, but Santos is the man. You should let Santos talk about the eclipse. And what's still to come, because something's coming.
No, I get that. Let's go. Come on, Santos.
Well, the beautiful thing about this eclipse was that a lot of people were around to look at it and paid a lot of attention to it. So the more of the mass of consciousness is aware of it and focuses, their consciousness toward it, the more effective and powerful it will be. So it's a portal. It's a reset. Eclipses are all about resetting the timeline, or changing the nature, upgrading the nature of the sun. And you may actually notice that the light has shifted. It's more golden than when the sun is shifted toward red or blue, redshift, blue shift, it's more harsh. But when the sun is toward the middle where it's yellow and green, which is where it is now, that's what happens with eclipses. They are actually resets. They are portals in time, and they change the energy frequency of the sun. So what's happened is an upgrade in the solar system. More intelligence is coming through. More souls of higher vibration, because we've had quite a few hundred years of souls that haven't done much developing in the past, or incarnating, so really low development rates, whereas in higher times, like the golden age, it was much better, and Earth was able to attract a much better quality of things. So we're being mixed up, on this timeline. There's advanced people, and there's not very advanced people, and the elite have really taken advantage of them, because their modus operandi is let who will be deceived be deceived. And from their level of operation, it's fair game. It's nothing personal. It's just pure business, and so that's the way they write their contracts. But this eclipse, coupled with the one in 2024 in April the 8th of 2024, this one crossed in Leo on the 28th degree, and that one will cross on the 18th degree of Aries. So one is the lion and one is the lamb in the zodiac, Aries and Leo. And of course, Jesus is described as the Lamb of God and the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So
that's easy, because I'm a Leo with Aries rising.
Well, I'm an Aries with Leo rising.
Nice mirror.
So that's a lot of fire, and those signs are very, very holy, those signs in the ecliptic, because they are the only two places where the sun is glorified. In Leo, in astrology, Leo is the best place because it's the domicile of the sun. That's where he is the king. That's why the scripture says, the scepter shall not depart from this sign, from the Judah, the tribe of the lion. Because Leo, the sun will never have another ruling sign. That it's Leo, and hence all people born in that 30-degree space, they are especially blessed. And then Aries is where the sun exalts, and so that is also the other place where the sun is very, very dignified. The energy of cardinal fire Aries is very compatible with the sun. So in other signs, the sun suffers a little bit more, whereas the sun is glorified in those signs. And so for the shadows to be cast on the earth from those signs, fire is mystical, okay, M-Y-S-T. Water is mist, M-I-S-T. And in Scripture you have a baptism of water and you have a baptism of fire. So this is a baptism of fire. What we've gone through on the 21st was a baptism. We were immersed in the darkness, and it was a reset. The portal was open. The energy of the sun has shifted. It's gone to the middle where the solar plexus is, around that yellow colour, and the heart chakra green. So it's very green. And
the digeta of the sun.
Yeah,
power and
it's definitely shifted. It has a much more luminous quality about it. Go out in the sun and you will see. The sun is...
I've been sunbathing every day. I actually sun gazed at the sun while the eclipse was going on in the States, and they started the group meditation I was on. And it did. It was very powerful, because normally it's blue and then it gives off other colors like green and pink or whatever, but it's much, and it has this aura around it that it explodes into, and then the more you stare at it, then it can shift and you can control it. But what's happened is it's gone to like you cranked up the meter on the cymatic scale, and I actually see like crystalline in it instead of just colors and pens. There's like crystalline, like a higher light crystalline grid underneath the colors. That's what I see when I sun gaze. It's crazy.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
Yes, when you sun gaze, you can pretty much command the colour that you wish to see of the electromagnetic spectrum.
Yes.
You can focus on violet if you wish to spiritualise quickly. If you focus on the red, then you will be grounded. If you focus on the green, and you can evoke the colour. I sun gaze and I evoke the green, and I just you can torch your eyes a little bit like a squint, and you can just hone in on it, and you can revitalise your body through those colours. You see, Snow White and the seven dwarfs are the sun and the seven refracted colours from the sun. Noah and the seven people in his arch, rainbow, the rainbow, it's the seven colours of the rainbow, and Noah is the sun. And this is how nature is being made. It's through that powerful electricity. And so what we should be looking for is how this is going to change the legal system on the planet. Because since Pope Francis wrote his Motu Proprio, and it's drawing their indemnifying all of these commercial transactions and withdrawing their underpinning of that system. Now with this eclipse, it will be interesting to see how they act, because I don't see them having any ability to continue their fraud, because now things are in the open, and you'll see that I believe, and I hope, I might be wrong, might take another 7 years for the next eclipse, but I believe that the light is going to be shining down on them and exposing them, you know, in a way that they won't be able to sustain the onslaught of awakening, and hopefully the fraudulent side of their activities will disappear. Let's hope.
I like the sound of that, and that's actually what I feel is they're going to probably try some false. I mean, you know, they did the Barcelona thing, they did the Charlottesville thing. They're trying to create the havoc so they can have the excuse to. But I think it's going to come out. They're all going to be outed. Goddess knows how it's going to play out. I'm excited. We have front row seats. But no, definitely feel by like October or November, there's going to be some huge shift. Like, I'm not concerned. I'm not going back to the U.S. because I'm not going to be subject to myself to any of that. And I don't feel I want to be there right now. I want to go get my kid at some point. But really, really, I feel they're going to be, you know, shine your light brilliantly in the darkness. I can't shine it anymore. There's people all over. My friend Brendan Murphy, who was a Global Freedom Man, is live on another channel now. A lot of people that have been doing stuff for a long time. We had a lot of practice getting at this, and now it's to synergize, to all come together and have like Steve suggested, having all those people on at once. And then, you know, like the Thrive kind of did that with their movie, the Thrive movie, and they're making another one. But you know, you got to have somebody in law, you know, and somebody in science to explain about the GMOs and the chemtrails and vaccines. I mean, I have an IQ there where I can kind of jump across all of them, but I'm not a master of any of them. I can go in enough to get myself in trouble and need somebody who's an expert like you and Steve. I'm pretty good, but you know, we need somebody to get in and do the science of the GMO. Then we also need to see about education, and even you know, all the stuff about religion, because religion, you know this, Santos. I think I got this from you. Comes from religare in Latin, to tie down or bind. And I even have a Buddhist name, and I love a lot of people who are Buddhist, but still, it's about saying Buddha, oh, you gotta do it exactly the way Buddha did. Well, I've already had Kundalini, as have you, Santos, and you know that no one has their own, we have our own choreography to our awakening. And there are certain aspects that can pop in and out, but everybody gets their own palette, and we're not supposed to be creating the same cookie cutter thing over and over again. We're all colors on the palette, and the more we have, the more we can, you know, instead of being on a black and white old school radio, we can be in Technicolor on HD, you know, in this like virtual reality system. It's no more, and floating. I really think we are. Yeah? You think we are, Steve?
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Definitely an HD Technicolor. I'm getting a bit darky.
You make your own reality. You think it, you make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bill, teach me.
The greatest thing I've ever learned is you are what you think. And if people really don't understand that, you are screwed.
Absolutely.
If you can have the power to cry at the drop of a hat, and you haven't got the power to make yourself happy by the same reasoning, then you're really not understanding what's going on in this world.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Santos is
That's
right in with that
for my t-shirt.
Oh.
No, I love this t-shirt.
You just want to show us.
This is it. She dared to live with her heart wide open. I dared to go through all this shit with my heart wide open. I didn't shut down for any of it. And Brett was there for a lot of the really hard times, as was Santos. Woo! I can't believe I'm here 7 years later. But,
I'm the newbie on the block.
What?
I said, I'm the newbie on the block. I'm the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
You're the next octave I was able to step up to get there. It's my time. We all came up different paths, and they all led to this one platform, and now we're going to have others join us, and we're going up to the next one. But I'm really curious.
For a reason.
Sorry?
Everything's done for a reason. What will be, will be.
Exactly. And we're not in any hurry to do it. I am here to dance some heaven in on the Mother Earth, though. And I have, but I don't want to have this. And I know, of course, we're going to have you back on, Steve, if you don't mind. Of course. I wasn't done with that.
I would like us to get Rowan and Romley on as well.
Heaven, yeah, I'm all about it. I'm not joking. And they'll give me more stuff to tap into. No, because I'm ready to go for it. I'm ready to do.
If you get Rom on, you get Rowan on, and you get Maggie on. We can try and have a word with David. I'll email David to see if he can come on. We can do a link up. You can have 4 or 5, then you can have all different people on, and then you can have all different ways that they can speak then.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have David. I should probably have David alone too, because I was actually just about to interview him when I had.
David is
it. Yeah, no, let's do it. I'm ready. And more.
Everybody can bounce off everybody else. Because
exactly.
Somebody else will not see. But somebody understands, somebody else won't understand. But as a group collective, it's easy to understand it through a group. I'm Scottish, you can't even understand.
I rock your energy, though. I just don't get the words all right.
I would hope that you would get Santos on, get Romley, get Rowan on, hopefully get David on, myself if you want me back on, and then sit and have a real deep discussion about everything, where he's all at, and how you proceed from this point forward. And that's the most important.
Got it.
That's the part.
Get it in order, I'll fill it. I'm really good executing. I think it's amazing.
You'd have a lot of people very interested in hearing all of these, all different sides. You've got specialists in every field there. Specialists on every sector there. They're all specific specialists in their individual fields. As a unit, it's flawless. It's absolutely flawless. There's no arguments about it.
Like I said, we might have to throw in Michael Tessarian and also Seven Bone.
Yeah, you can throw in everybody you want to throw in, Lisa. I'm only talking about people that I deal with, what I deal with in that side of things.
Right, no, we'll start out there because it's really important because this is the root of it all. This is the law. This is how it.
It's not a legal fight. This is a humanity fight, or should I say a planet fight, or a spiritual fight.
Yeah.
Because if you don't wake up and look after what we've got, we're going to have nothing left. None of us are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was not the plan. That was not the original plan. We were given a chance, and it's been hijacked by an outside source.
Yeah.
Co-opted.
And you know what? They are interested in dropping down the numbers, getting rid of vets when they get everything out of the ground.
Yeah. And you're going to let them do it because it's legals. You're going to let them do it because they're the legals. You need to stand the ground on the legals here and get rid of it. You don't need it. Nobody needs it.
No. Question. And this is what I was trying to go before when I always give people a good reason to laugh. And I don't care even if I'm laughed at, as long as everybody's laughing. Exactly. But as far as this goes back to like the piece that you really have that I didn't get into, aside from the obvious wisdom and knowledge aside, is the whole crest and the seal. Now I know about the seal, and you should have your own seal made so that you stamp your documents, and they couldn't be challenged whatsoever. But could you just briefly, or as briefly as you care to, explain what your which name you should look for if you're crest? Like for example, I was born. My father was Murdoch, but my stepdad was Vonk. And my mother's maiden name at birth was Frank. So it said Frank on my thing, but my biological father is Murdoch. Which name or clan and crest am I supposed to start? That's why I started to get so confused there. I'm like, I don't even know which one's the right one to look at.
It's a damn good question.
That's a very good question. I get asked that a lot. I would go with your original birth certificate, your registered birth certificate, the very first one that you were given, your parents actually got, yeah? That gives a true timeline when it starts. Forget your live bomb when it's sent off. Start with the registered one. Yeah? That's the easiest way I would do
start with
that.
the initial one at birth before I get adopted and sold to another clan.
Absolutely correct. That starts the point. It starts it. You're starting from there. So you're now aware of where it started from. So you started from that. Now your clan name does not need to be mentioned in your coat of arms. It's your coat of arms. It's solely to you.
Yeah.
You can't mention it. You can mention a battle cry. It's the motto and everything. They're all unique things. Your crests, your shields, the supporters. These are things that you need to do and look after yourself and get into your coat of arms. They're unique. They are unique. Every coat of arms is unique to the individual man or woman. For when that starts the clan, your estate. So everything from that is inside that then. So for future generations, they get bloodlines because it's blood related, and they're wiping out all the bloodlines. So we know why they're doing it. They just want certain bloodlines in here. Sorry, that's true. That's what they want, pure bloodlines, guys. And it's not even, they're not even from this planet, to be fair. David Icke talks about it great. Yeah. So you really got to understand that's where it starts with. So, birth certificate, start from that. Your name's on
that's
it.
who we have to invite. Sorry, we got to invite Dan Winters on, too. Dan Winter. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you start with your birth certificate. That's the easiest way to do it. You've got a birth certificate. It's got your name, middle name if you have one, and a surname. It's like your mother's and your father's. It's there. That's what you can start with.
Okay.
The coat of arms is unique. It's yours, and it's a Pacific thing. The coat of arms you get online.
Yeah,
Sorry?
but regarding the coat of arms, isn't it? Even though my mother wasn't married to my father, biologically, it's to be the father's name that you're pressing.
No, it's your coat of arms. It's yours. It's not anybody else's. This is where you're getting tricked. The coat of arms is what makes the coat of arms. So it's your coat of arms. It's not your father's. It's not your mother's. It's yours. It's your own coat of arms. You start.
Okay, I was thinking I needed to copy something.
Taking your own coat of arms. It's nothing to do with your family.
Gotcha.
If you're
do you mean you actually design your own coat of arms? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Pick the animals kind of in grass or.
Yeah, they've got the Pacific, in law, there's certain Pacifics under the ecclesiastical rules of canons to have a coat of arms, there's certain things that need to be done.
Yep.
Coat of arms has to be a real coat of arms. Now, the coat of arms you see about are not real coats of arms. They are legal coats of arms. And there's a difference here. A real coat of arms, and Franco Collins is absolutely spot on with this. Franco Collins, that's why the two Collins wrote videos off. The videos have all gone down, showing you how to make your own coats of arms, yeah? Because you're right, it's spot on. They are unique, and there's certain divine rights as well as lawful rights that needs to be put inside that coat of arms to make it real. A lawful and real and a legal one, and all these three things. It covers all three bases. It's unique to the individual man or the individual woman that does this shield, this coat of arms. And from that, you make your stamps of your estate.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. That's something is so simple once you work it out. But, you know, the concept in your head, thinking that I've got to sit down and design my own coat of arms as opposed to taking something that's in the past and just going, that's mine. It's a whole...
You can't do somebody else's, can you? That's copyrighted, probably will be copyrighted if it is.
Yeah.
You can't do that. This is your own coat of arms, it's nobody else's.
Yeah,
Which
makes total sense when you're talking about each person is a corporation and they are...
A corporation soul on a birth certificate.
Yeah.
So as a corporation aggregate of Australia, you are a corporation soul.
Yeah. Which makes sense. If you've got an individual number, then you've got your individual code, you've got your individual code of arms.
Even in the multiverse, you're an individual frequency signature.
Yeah. You're unique.
I'm another in the multiverse. Exactly. Which is why all those
every one of these are very unique and very digitally, vibrationally wise, unique to the universe. A speck on it. As a combined unit, you become very powerful and become bigger and bigger and bigger, as it's meant to be. At the moment, you're all separated. Until you all come in harmony, you'll always be separated. The more people get got together, the bigger the light shines, the vibration pulls in. It works, it's a wave. Once a wave starts, it's a ripple. A wave, it's a mountain. You get my drift, it's dead easy.
But it's a tsunami.
It goes, you just keep going. You just start it, and then keep with it. But the more people wake up and get into it, the bigger it gets. And you're not doing this to be humorous or be smart or be anything. It's got nothing to do with me. I couldn't care less.
Oh, who would want to do this? Who would want to get into any? No one.
Everybody has their own opinion and their own outlook to this reality. And that's their choice. What you don't understand is you have got no choice, but you're led to believe you do have a choice. Now that's the difference. That's the difference. When you come outside the box and see what choices you really have, because you've got a lot more than you've been told you have. There's a difference. That's what they don't
It's like
want you.
Jupiter Ascending. Yeah, have you seen the movie Jupiter Ascending? I'm like, oh my God, if the universe, or even Santos, you must have seen that, what is it, your Rancha book? Oh my God. You're like, if the universe is this convoluted, oh my God, we're doomed. How complex the Gordian knot is and how overlaid.
As a species, we are real. Not all of us. Certain individuals have got no empathy, none at all, no empathy at all. And that's the frightening thing. We are a danger to other species.
Exactly.
Just for what they do to their own species. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's right there in the Avatar.
You just wouldn't do that to your own species. It goes against nature's great nature. It goes against nature. It goes against the balance.
Yeah. Kill your own. Exactly. Exactly.
Do it.
In Avatar, they covered that in the Avatar scene where the woman, I forgot her name, but the Avatar woman finds him when he first goes into his Avatar body, and she has to kill the dog. She goes, "You baby, that it should not have had to die." That's exactly what it is. Us humans are, I'm sorry, you're looking, but us humans are not.
I had something to do there.
I didn't want to say it without hearing it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
The system is designed to keep you all in a vibration, a very low vibration. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what legalese does. That's what legals do to you. It keeps you on a very low vibration. Because you, as a man or a woman, believe that you have to abide by that structure. No, you don't. Because under the real law, and there is two laws running here, and this is a frightening thing that don't want you to know about, there is two laws running. There is real, there is legal.
Yep.
They just hide the real from you, because on a birth certificate you're attached to it, you're never going to get the remedy. Not through the legals, you're not, until you do certain things in law via the course you do. Once it comes that way, things open up for you guys. It changes your perspective.
Yeah.
Your belief systems change, because we're all connected, because we're all breathing, we're all giving off energy. It's vibration. You can't take that away from any creature is giving it off. Every plant's giving it off. They give off energy. Everything does. Anything that's breathing is giving off an energy, of ether, if you want to call it, which is part of everything. It's all to do with the big nature, balance, tree of life, if you want to go down that road with it. I love the tree of life.
Yeah.
The apple of life, even better.
We can go into sacred geometry there, or we could have Santos elaborate on the Kabbalah and how that's transcribed. It's all part of the
apple of life, which a lot of people think is an apple off a tree, is actually not. It was given to the great divine creator. Actually left the apple here for you guys to look after, and it was hijacked. They've done a film about it in Assassin's Creed. You've got to really understand and know what it's all about. It's quite clear. And that's what started all this off. Where after it, they wanted to contain humanity as a whole keep these all down to be fed on. Simple as.
That's why Mac, including the computer we're having this conversation on, has a big apple with a bite taken out of it.
Yeah. Apple of life is called. It's not an apple of an apple tree. It's an apple of life. It's to do with your DNA. The DNA is to show where you've come from.
Yeah.
Because we're not from this planet. We've been brought here. That's a scary thing.
No, well, I can actually go off. I've done a lot of research and had my own empirical experiences, but
your shell suit is not designed for this terrain because it's not. It's not. Look at all the species of animal here. We're the only ones that have got 5,000 defects in our DNA. Look at every other species, 500. Hello? Tells you everything you need to know. Tells you everything. Rhesus blood. I've got a girlfriend that's like a rhesus blood. Do you get my drift? She's got rhesus blood. Yeah, rhesus blood she's got.
I actually went to school for genetic engineering, Steve, so going into this area is really...
She's had it all her life. And like I said, that's what she's had. But it's not our species normal blood of O and A. Negative and positive of the blood. It's not that. It's not our gene code for the humans. So it's been brought in.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Just on that alone, 15% of the world's got that blood. Bloodline.
It's AO, right? AO, right.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, there's rhesus negative blood in it. Yeah, so
well, this is why I want to have, this is where Dan Winter gets into it, because he gets into the different wars in space and how the Lyrans and whatever, but the Anunnaki coming down here, and it goes into all the Egyptian stuff that Santos just so eloquently went into, but like King Tut, and the whole, I'm preaching to the choir here, obviously. But there was an original human race here, but our DNA has been messed with so many times. But it was also, I mean, like I even have the mark of Magdalene on both my palms.
We have never been brought here. We have never been here. We've been brought here.
Yeah.
We are not from this plane. Trust me, Ellen. There's no way. Your DNA tells you.
I know I took this human life to fix this place, but I certainly enjoyed it. I think I was right.
The way we live on now at this moment in time is not the original plane that our forefathers and forefathers before us actually brought us into. We were brought here a long time ago, a long time ago. And we were all, I think this is the third generation of humanoids, as we want to call them, that's actually still here. Because the previous ones have been wiped out, and we were a lot bigger back then as well. Because we were giants back then.
Yeah, no, I just went to this place in Romania, which is where they uncovered the huge, and on Martha's Vineyard even, they found the 15-foot tall bones there, and it's still in the museum, but they say people weren't here. And even Martha's Vineyard was allegedly created by one of those giants.
Gods and creators. No. That was just a different generation of us.
No, I get it. Like Game of Thrones, the giants. And but it thinks of Romania allegedly, but I've done the research for the guy who wrote the book about it, and they have inside, and the energy there is crazy amazing. But it's allegedly in the mountain because the U.S. is flying over in like 1995, 98, something like that, and they commandeered it in Romania, and it supposedly is protected by some kind of energetic field, so they can't get in, but they can look in. And there's huge table and chairs for giants, and what appear to be holographic pictures, not necessarily hanging on the wall, but in the sky, that show what the hybrids would look like of various different races all over the multiverse. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. With the three tunnels down and system all over the world underground.
We're not here for certain different reasons, absolutely correct. And it's to mine the planet, basically, or to mine the plane, basically.
Yeah.
It's just been hijacked. We've been hijacked.
Mine gold, right? Mine gold, but not only mine gold, then them mining us. Like that's why they even use the term human resources. I get sick of it.
Human resource, I love that one. Yes. I love that word as well. Oh dear. Yes. When Santos is absolutely, you're absolutely right with these things. They're spot on. You're absolutely correct. There's so many things that people don't understand what's going on. There's a war going on. We can't see it, but we can feel it. You can feel it. Yeah, Santos will agree with that. He will feel that on so many different levels because he's so awake. He will feel that. Absolutely. He knows there's a chip coming. I know there's a chip coming. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah. No. And I've been telling Brett, something huge
You've got to
is
get everybody
coming.
away.
October, November, I don't know. The eclipse is good for 6 months, but something huge is coming. And I don't even have plans on where I'm going to be after like 3 weeks from now. I haven't even decided. I haven't picked it yet.
You live for the day. You always live for the day.
Yeah. No, we even discussed having I literally have 2 suitcases. I have a couple of bags back in Bali, but I mean, not stuff that I usually. I'm frequently freed of everything I have in the world except for what I'm carrying over the last 7 years. And it got to be a joke where my luggage never arriving or getting lost or stolen. That I narrowed it down and I brought 2 suitcases, which is basically everything I own. But it's winter.
Hmm.